33. Greatness of Udi. Scorpion sting and plague cases cured. Jamnar miracle. Narayan Rao's sickness. Balabua Sutar. Appa Sahib Kulkarni. Haribau Karnik. In the last chapter, we described the greatness of the Guru. Now, in this, we will describe the greatness of Udi. However, both are interlinked. The greatness of Udi is due to the spiritual grandeur of Baba. Preliminary. Let us now bow before the great saints. Their merciful glances will destroy mountains of sins and do away with all the blemishes of our character. Their talk gives us good teachings and confers on us invaluable happiness. Their minds do not know any difference, such as, this is ours and that is yours. Such differentiation never arises in their minds. Their debts, that is, the obligations, will never be repaid by us in this birth, as well as in many future births. Udi. It is well known that Baba took dakshina from all, and out of the amount thus collected, he spent on charity and purchased a fuel. This fuel he put in the dhuni, the sacred fire, which he kept ever burning. The ash from the fire was called Udi, and it was freely distributed to the devotees at the time of their departure from Shirdi. What did Baba teach by this Udi? Baba taught by this Udi that all the visible phenomena in the universe are as transient as the ash. Our bodies, composed of matter of the five elements, will fall down after all their enjoyments are over and to be reduced to the ashes. In order to remind the devotees the fact that their bodies will be reduced to ashes, Baba distributed Udi to them. Baba also taught by the Udi that the Brahma is the only reality and the universe is the ephemeral, and that no one in this world, be he a son, father, wife, is really ours. We come here in this world alone and we have to go from here alone. It has been found that the Udi cured many physical and mental maladies, but Baba wanted to repeat into the devotees' ears the principle of the discrimination between the unreal and the real. He taught non attachment for the unreal by his Udi and Dakshina. The former, the Udi, taught us discrimination, and the latter, Dakshina, taught us the non attachment. Unless we have these two things, it is not possible for us to cross the ocean, the sea of the mundane existence. So Baba asked for Dakshina, and while other devotees took leave, he gave Udi as prasad, besmeared for some of it on their foreheads, and placed his boon conferring hand on them. When Baba was in a cheerful mood, he used to sing merrily. On such a song was about Udi. One such song was about Udi. The meaning of the song was, "Oh, playful Ram, come, come and bring with you the sacks of Udi." Baba used to sing in very clear and tender tones. So, besides the spiritual implication of Udi, it had also its material significance. It conferred health, prosperity, freedom from anxiety, and many other worldly gains. So, the Udi has helped us to gain both our ends, that is, material as well as spiritual. We shall now begin with the story about the Udi. Begin with the story of Udi. Scorpion sting. Narayan Motiram Jani, or of Nashik, was a devotee of Baba. He was serving under another devotee of Baba by name Ramachandra Vaman Modak. Once he went to Shirdi and his mother and saw Baba. Then Baba himself told her that her son would start independent business. Some days after this prophecy turned true, Narayan Jani left service and started a boarding house, Anand Ashram, which thrived well. Once a friend of this Narayan Rao was stung by a scorpion, and the pain caused by it was severe and unbearable. Udi is the most efficacious in such cases. It is to be applied on the point of pain, and so Narayan Rao searched for it but found none. Then he stood before Baba's picture and invoked Baba's aid, chanted Baba's name, and taking out a pinch of the ashes of the joystick burning in front of Baba's picture and thinking it as Baba's Udi, applied it on the seat of pain and the sting. As soon as he moved his fingers, the pain vanished, and both the persons were moved and delighted. Bubonic plague case. Once a devotee of Bandra came to know that his daughter, who was staying in another place, was down with bubonic plague. He had no Udi with him, so he sent word to Nana Sahib Chandorkar to send the same. Nana Sahib got this message en route Tana railway station, and when he was travelling with his wife to Kalyan, he had no Udi with him then. He therefore took up some dust from road, meditated upon Sai Baba, invoked his aid, and applied to his wife's forehead. The devotee was very glad to learn that his daughter, who was suffering for 3 days, began to improve from the very moment Nana Sahib invoked Baba's aid near the Thana railway station. Sai. The Jamner miracle. In the year 1904, 1905, Nana Sahib Chandorkar was Mamladar at Jamner in the Kandesh district, which is more than 100 miles from Shirdi. His daughter Meinatai was pregnant and was due to deliver. Her case was very serious and she was suffering from labor pains for last 2 days or 3 days. Nana Sahib tried all remedies but in vain. He then remembered Baba and invoked his aid. There in Shirdi, one Ramkir Bua, whom Baba called Bapugir Bua, was leaving for his native place in Khandesh. Baba called him and told him to stop at Jamner on his way home and give the Udi and Arati to Nana Sahib. Ramkir Bua said that he had only 2 rupees with him, and this amount was barely sufficient for the railway fare up to Jalgaon, and it was not possible for him to go to Jalgaon to Jamner, a distance for about 30 miles. Baba assured him that he need not care, as everything would be provided for. Then Baba asked Shama to write a well-known Arati composed by Madhav Adkar. Arati and translation of this is given at the end of this work, and gave a copy of it with Udi to Ramkir Bua to be delivered to Nana Sahib. Then relying on Baba's words, Ramkir Bua left Shirdi and reached Jalgaon at about 45 a.m. He had only 2 annas, that is 16 annas is equal to rupees 1. So he had 2 annas left with him. That is, he had only 2 annas left with him, and he was in a plight. To this, to his great relief, he heard somebody calling out, "Who is Bapur Bua of Shirdi?" He went to him and told him that he was Bapur Bua. Then the person professing to be sent by Nana Sahib took him to an excellent tonga with a good pair of horses. They both drove in it. The tonga ran fast, and early in the morning they came to a brooklet. The man took the horses for watering them, and he asked Ramgir Bua to partake of some eatables. On seeing the beard, mustache, and the livery of that person, Ramgir Bua suspected him to be a Muslim and was unwilling to take any refreshment from him, but he was satisfied Ramgir Bua by saying that he was a Hindu, a Kshatriya of Gharwal, and that Nana Sahib had sent these refreshment and there should be no difficulty in his acceptance. Then both of them took the refreshment and started again. They reached Jamner at dawn. Ramgir Bua alighted to attend a call of nature and returned within few minutes, but found that there was no tonga, no driver. He was dumbfounded. Then he went to the neighboring Kacheri and was making inquiries, learnt that the Mamlatdar was at home. He went to the Nana Sahib house and gave to Nana Sahib Baba's Udi and Arati. At that time, Maina Thai's case was in the most serious condition and all were in deep anxiety about her. Nana Sahib called out his wife and asked her to give the Udi mixed with water to their daughter to drink. He thought that Baba's help was most opportune. In a few minutes came the news that the delivery was safe and that the crisis had passed away. Then Ramgir Bua thanked Nana Sahib for the peon, tonga and refreshments, etc. The latter was greatly surprised as he sent none to the station and was not aware of any person coming from Shirdi. Mr. B.B. Dev of Thana, retired Mamlatdar, made inquiries about this matter with Baburao Chandorkar, son of Nana Sahib, and Ramgir Bua of Shirdi, and after satisfying himself, wrote an elaborate article, part prose and part poetry, in the Shirdi Sai Leela magazine, volume 13, number 11, 12, and 13. B.B. Narasimha Swami has also taken down the statements of number 1, Mainatai, number 5, page 14, and number 2, Bapu Sahib Chandorkar, number 20, page 50, and number 3, Ramgir Bua, number 27, page 83, dated 1st June 1936, 16th September 1936, and 1st December 1936, respectively, and published them as Devotees' Experiences, Part 3. The following is quoted from Ramgir Bua's statement. One day Baba called me to him and gave me a packet of udi and a copy of Baba's Arati. I had to go to the Kandesh at that time. Baba directed me to go to Jamner and told me to deliver Arati and udi to Nana Sahib Sandorkar at Jamner. I said to Baba that I was rupees 2, that all I had was rupees 2. I asked him how that I could take my train from Kopargaon to Jalgaon and next from Jalgaon to Jamner. But Baba said God will give. It was a Friday. I started at once. I reached Manmad at 7:30 p.m. and Jalgaon at 2:45 a.m. At that point, plague regulations were in force and I had much trouble. I was to discover what should I do to get to Jamner. At about 3 a.m., a peon in boots, turban, and equipped with other details of good dress came to me and took me to a tonga and drove me on. On the way to Bhagur, I took refreshments. We reached Jamner early in the morning, and by the time I attended Call of Nature, the tonga and the driver had disappeared. This is in page 83. Narayan Rao. Bhakta Narayan Rao's, the father's name and surname was not given, had the good fortune to see Baba twice during the latter's lifetime. 3 years after the passing away of Baba in 1918, he wanted to come to Shirdi but could not. Within a year of Baba's Mahasamadhi, he fell sick and suffered much. All possible remedies gave him no relief. So he meditated on Baba day and night. One night he had a vision. Baba came through a cellar, comforted him, saying, "Don't be anxious. You will be improving from tomorrow, and within a week you will be on your legs." Narayan Rao got perfectly well within the time indicated in the vision. Now the point for consideration is, was Baba living because he had the body, or he was dead because he left it? No, Baba is ever alive, for he transcends both life and death. He who loved him wholeheartedly gets response from him at any time, at any place. He is always by our side and will take for any form, appear before devout bhakta and satisfy him. Sai. Appa Sahib Kulkarni. In 1917, Appa Sahib Kulkarni was transferred to Thana and began to worship Baba's picture presented to him by Bala Sahib Pate. In real earnest, he did the worship. He offered flowers, sandal paste, and Naivedya daily to Baba in the picture and logged intently to see him. In this connection, it might be remarked that seeing Baba's picture earnestly is equivalent to seeing him in person. The following story illustrates this statement. Balabua Sutar. A saint of Mumbai named Balabua Sutar, who on account of his piety, devotion and style was called modern Tukaram, came to Shirdi for the first time in 1917. When he bowed before Baba, the latter said, "I have known this man for 4 years. Balabua wondered and thought how could that be, as it was the first trip to Shirdi. But thinking about it seriously, he recollected that he had prostrated himself 4 years ago before Baba's portrait at Mumbai and was convinced about the significance of Baba's words. He said to himself, how omniscient and all pervading are the saints and how kind they are to their devotees. I merely bowed to his photo, but this fact was noticed by Baba, and in due time he made me realize that seeing his photo is equivalent to seeing him in person." Now we return to Appa Sahib's story. While he was in Thana, he had to go on a tour to Bhiwandi and was expected to return after a week. In his absence, the following wonderful thing took place on the third day. At noon, a fakir turned up at Appa Sahib's house. His features resembled exactly those of Baba's photo. Mrs. Kulkarni and the children all asked him whether he was Sai Baba of Shirdi. He said no, but all that he was obedient servant of his and came there at his order to inquire after the well-being of the family. Then he asked for dakshina. The lady gave him a rupee. He gave her a small packet of udi and asked her to keep in the shrine. Then he left the house and went away. Now hear the wonderful Leela of Sai. Appa Sahib could not proceed with this tour as his horse fell sick at Bhiwandi. He returned home that afternoon and learned from his wife about Fakir's visit. He got very restless as he did not have the darshan of the Fakir. Moreover, he did not like that only 1 rupee was paid to him as dakshina. He said that had he been present, he would have paid not less than 10 rupees. Then he immediately started in quest of the fakir and searched him in the masjid and other places without taking any food. His search was in vain. He then returned home and took his food. The readers may remember here Baba's dictum in chapter 32 that God's quest should not be made on an empty belly. Then, after the meals, he went out for a walk with a friend, Mr. Chitre. After going some distance, they saw a man approaching them rapidly. Appa Sahib thought that he must be the fakir that came to his house on this noon, and his features tallied with those of Baba's in the photo. The fakir immediately put forth his hand and asked for dakshina. Appa Sahib gave him a rupee. He demanded again and again, and so Appa Sahib gave him 2 more. Still, he was not satisfied. Then he borrowed rupees 3 from Mr. Chitre and gave it to him. He still wanted more. Appa Sahib asked him to accompany him to his home. Then they all returned home and Appa Sahib gave him 3 rupees, in all 9. He looked unsatisfied and demanded again. Then Appa Sahib told him that he had a currency note of 10. The fakir asked for the same, took it and returned the 9 rupees and went away. Appa Sahib had earlier said that he would pay 10 rupees and that some was taken from him and 9 rupees consecrated by Baba's touch were returned to him. The figure 9 is significant. It denotes the 9 types of devotion. That is via chapter 21. It may also be noted here that Baba gave 9 coins to one Lakshmi Bai Shinde at his last moment. Appa Sahib examined the udi packet and found that it contained, say, some flower leaves and akshata. Then, sometime afterwards, he got a hair from Baba when he saw him at Shirdi. He put the udi packet and the hair in a tabis and wore it always on his arm. Appa Sahib realized the power of the udi. Though he was very efficient, he got rupees 40 as the pay in the beginning, but after he secured Baba's photo and his udi, he got many times more and also got so much power and influence, and along with these temporal benefits, his spiritual progress was also rapid. So those who are fortunate enough to get Baba's udi should, after bath, apply it on the forehead and take some of it mixed with water as holy teeth. Haribau Karnik. In 1917, Haribau Karnik of Dahanu, that is Thana district, came to Shirdi on the Guru Paurnima day in the month of Ashadha and worshipped Baba with all formalities. He offered cloths and dakshina and after taking Baba's leave, got down the steps of the masjid. He then thought that he should offer 1 more rupee to Baba and was turning to climb up again when Shama signalled him by gesture that as he got Baba's leave, he should go and not return. So he started for home. On his way, when he went to the temple of Kala Ram of Nashik for darshan, the Saint Narsingh Maharaji, who used to sit inside the temple, came to Haribau, caught him by his wrist and said, "Give me my 1 rupee." Karnik was surprised. He paid the rupee most willingly and thought that Sai Baba recovered the rupee which he intended in his mind to give through Saint Narsingh Maharaj. This story illustrates the fact that all saints are one and illustrates how they work in unison. Bow to Shirdi Sai, peace be to all. Sai Satcharitha, a day full of miracles, comes to an end with Satcharitha. Chapter 32, 33. Let me go with the next chapter next week. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha.